This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of September 6th, 2022. I'm Alex Brown. Gleaners Food Bank of Indiana has publicly launched a $25 million fundraising campaign it says will focus on the implementation of the nonprofit's strategic initiatives. Outgoing CEO John Elliott says he believes funding, technology, and collaborations are beginning to close the meal gap in Indiana.
We not only have met the increased need from the pandemic and now from price inflation, we have been steadily shrinking that meal gap. And this goal that seemed unattainable years ago of getting to closing the meal gap and having food for every person who's hungry, it's attainable.
The funds raised from the Community Campaign for Gleaners will support a freezer expansion, technology upgrades, and other capital projects. Multinational conglomerate Hitachi has acquired Fishers-based Flexware Innovation, an engineering company, which also has an office in Valparaiso, that helps companies integrate software with advanced manufacturing systems. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. Dojo Creative, a website design and development company previously based in Michigan, is renovating and redeveloping the former Jeans camera store in downtown Mishawaka. The company says it is on track to wrap up the first floor of the three-phase renovation project in November. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
IBJ Media delivers business news covering central Indiana and the entire state. The Indianapolis Business Journal and Inside Indiana Business are now part of the same family. Look to the IBJ for in-depth coverage of central Indiana's business community and tap into Inside Indiana Business for stories that extend throughout Indiana. 2 resources, unlimited business insights that help you stay informed and get ahead. Learn more at ibj.com and insideindianabusiness.com.
The owner of the Indy 11 soccer team said he is confident his plans for a new stadium downtown won't hinge on asking for more state tax dollars than he has already been promised.
The statement comes despite cost increases the project has seen since the state legislature agreed 3 years ago to help fund it. The 20,000-seat stadium is one component of Ursal Ozdemir's $1 billion 11-park mixed-use development planned for the Diamond Chain manufacturing site along the White River. And while the stadium is expected to be the costliest element of the development, it has a price tag now estimated at $200 million up to $250 million. It's also the only part so far that has been pledged public funding, with up to $9.5 million from the state each year going toward debt service. Back in 2019, the stadium was projected to cost $150 million. An IBJ analysis found that if the project's all-in cost, including fees, overhead, and actual construction, comes in around $242 million, Indy 11 would be able to maximize the amount it receives from the state without having to shell out more of its own money to cover overruns. City officials say they remain in negotiations with Ozdemir and his development firm Keystone Group about the project. Wes Mills, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Our Southern Indiana Regional Development Authority is moving forward with several projects in the Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative process. The RDA has approved 4 projects for READY funding, which will now be submitted for state review. The projects include Borden Recreation and the South Monon Freedom Trail in Clark County, the Nova Park Innovation and Technology Campus in Edwardsville, and a Charlestown housing project. In 2021, Our Southern Indiana RDA received a $50 million grant from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation through the READY program. The current round of projects is set to receive more than $10 million. The nonprofit Boilermaker Alliance announced last week it is expanding the scope of its name, image, and likeness program to include all 385 scholarship athletes at Purdue University, and that former Boilermaker quarterback and Super Bowl champion Drew Brees has joined its executive committee. Robbie Hummel, a former Purdue basketball star who serves on the nonprofit's advisory committee, says the program helps Purdue close the gap when it comes to competing in the new world of college sports.
When it started, I don't think we had maybe in place what we needed to. Like some other schools had maybe been laying the groundwork pretty early. And I think this really catches us up. So I think that they've done a great job of really doing that, closing that gap. And this is what we need to compete in this era of college sports.
Alliance President Jeff McKean says including student athletes from all sports allows Purdue to stand out from other universities that only focus on revenue sports when it comes to NIL initiatives. Butler University men's basketball coach Thad Matta is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.